Well, obviously, and you've got some nice support here.
Well, there's a lot more than this. A lot of people couldn't make
Come on in,
it.
everybody.
Yeah, you guys can slide around the desk if you
Yeah,
want to.
go all the way,
too.
go all the way
That's
around.
fine.
So a couple people get, there's
Do you want to
chairs
come in
back
or you
there.
staying out there? You're dead? So tell me your story first of all. Did you ever get the Purple Heart, or did you
I
lost
did.
it, or what?
I'm sure it's somewhere, but it's misplaced.
Okay, that's not a good thing to misplace, Paul.
Well,
I mean, that's something that most people have all framed in their, as soon as
well,
you
there's
walk
a
in their
lot of
door.
things that are
And
misplaced. I asked for a caregiver about 14 years ago, and I didn't get one until the end of January last year. So I totaled up the hours, and it comes to about 70,000 hours that I didn't get a caregiver for over 14 years. Now, I possibly should have had a caregiver for 45 years.
You've been in a wheelchair for how many years?
Since well, you mean while I'm awake or asleep? But no, I've been using a wheelchair since 1969. I was injured May 6, 1969.
So,
45 years.
you know, and I'm sure the folks here have heard the story. Have you heard how he was injured? Everybody here has heard? Well, do you mind sharing it? I mean, I
It
just,
was a CH-47 Chinook. I was in artillery, and I volunteered to go on a port observer party May 6th of 1969. And we flew up, should have turned this off. May 6th of 1969, I volunteered to go on a port observer party. And we flew around to 3 different base camps, I, an executive officer, and a radio man to get maps and coordinates for our artillery. And we met up with about 700 South Vietnamese ARVNs. And there were 6 Chinooks that came in to pick us up. They're the largest troop carriers, and I was on the 3rd one. And according to the reports, some said that we were shot down. We were definitely overloaded. We were packed in there. And there could have been 70 or 80 that were in the crash. Most of them were cremated. There was no remains of a lot of the, and I was fortunately thrown out to the back of the helicopter.
so you fell from where you're.
We got about a half a mile from where we took off from.
So you, and then you were paralyzed from that fall out of the helicopter.
Right,
And-
and burned on the arms and legs by the hydraulic fluid. Until they took the clothes off, they didn't know that I had burns.
Do you remember all this?
Every bit of it. Yeah.
Um,
And I believe it was the pilot or the assistant pilot, I was thrown out and I was maybe 40 feet away laying on my back, and I saw parts of bodies and that, and one of the Vietnamese stepped on my neck.
Do you think you were dead?
I don't know what he thought, but this is pretty gross and grim, but I saw him pull the flesh off of his arms. He was basically dead, but hadn't died yet. I was 2 years ago, I was in the burn unit at Iowa City at the university there, and they told me that they have a lot of patients that come in there that they may be able to talk and everything, but they're just minutes or hours from being dead. So, but anyway.
So you were paralyzed on that fall? I mean, you never walked?
Right, I had battery, radio equipment on my back. I didn't know where my legs were.
You couldn't feel them?
I couldn't feel them. Yeah, I didn't know if my legs were laying underneath me or what, but I was able to flail my arms back and forth a little bit and turn over on my belly, and I could hardly breathe, but I pushed my breath out as far as I could, and the pilot and another person were rescuing people that were further away, and they came in closer to pull me, and my head hit against rocks and different things like that. I mean, they couldn't help it, but they died rescuing other people. It's in the report. And I've seen the pictures of the wreckage afterwards. There was nothing that I could see that was much more than little pieces. You couldn't
How many
recognize.
survived?
I'm not sure if there was 5 or 8, something like that.
And how many perished?
Some reports said 70 or 80.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, the helicopter, when it blew up, they pulled me about a block or 2 away, and when it blew up, it could have been, I don't know for sure, but there was particles that landed all around me, and it could have been 10 or 20 stories high.
So were you flown back to the United States then for treatment from then on out?
I
or-
was in Vietnam for about a week and a half, and then I was flown to Okinawa, Japan, to the burn center there.
Stayed there for how long?
I was there for about I can't remember for sure, maybe a week, and then flown to Oakland, and from there to Fitzsimmons in Denver, Colorado.
Okay. All right. Well, your life was changed in a moment, wasn't it? Yeah. How about emotionally, as far as, I mean, obviously you've got, the physical after effects that you've had to live with your entire life. How do you get past something like that? I'm guessing some of these people were your friends and who you served with, and it's pretty hard, isn't it? I mean, did you think about it every day still?
Well, different people, they ask me from time to time, how are you? And I said, what do you focus on?
Yeah.
There's so many things to be happy about and grateful about.
Yeah.
Different veterans and veterans organizations in the beginning, I heard them complaining a lot, and I says, I'm in with you if you try to find solutions, but if all you're gonna do is complain, I can't go along with that.
And that's the route you've chosen to go?
Yeah, I even
just
said that to Governor Ogilvie at the time. I said, veterans need to be directed towards solutions to the problems, not directed towards being part of the problem.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how you've chosen to live your life then, huh?
Well, I learned this from my father and from my grandfather, working with the rescue mission.
Right,
And that.
right. Do you still help out at the rescue mission?
Well, I just go checking on it to see how things are going from time to time.
Yeah, yeah.
But I visit different churches and
Yeah.
try to learn what I can. I hear different people criticizing different things. You can find something to criticize about anybody, but
Sure.
one of the things, I've heard so much criticism about the Catholic Church, but I don't know of a church in the United States that doesn't have more schools and more medical schools and working with the Veterans Administration.
I happen to like the new pope.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm Catholic, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pleased with the new pope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I said the right thing to you. Yeah.
And what do you want, how old are you, Paul?
I gotta think.
You're probably in your 60s.
66.
Okay, you're 66,
One
I'm
of the
53.
things that I'd like to see a brand new, very large VA clinic with physical therapy, occupational therapy, and possible gymnasium for veterans to work out in. They have what they call the MOVE program. Donna can probably explain more to that.
Move. Oh, move, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. You could probably talk with Donna in the future on that. I've talked with the occupational St. Ambrose teaches occupational
Oh, yeah,
therapy.
right.
And John Tornquist is the head of the department over there, and he's done some fabulous things. And they have a home over there where they teach the students.
What would if something like that were to be here, located here, would there be enough patients to keep it busy in this region, or would it need to be more in an urban?
Cedar Rapids has occupation, and they have physical therapy at their
Oh, so, okay, so this exists within the VA.